Your brand is your reputation, and your reputation is totally controlled by you and your ability to communicate who you are with the people you work with.
I mean, you're kind of the first celebrity real estate broker, that used media like that to grow your business.
The real estate business is not a real estate business. My business is a people business, but it's an amazing business, man. It's one of the best careers in the United States anyway, because there's limitless potential.
When they buy something like that through you, how much of that is them buying you?
My job is to help people make a decision that they were probably gonna make anyway, but they're gonna make it with me and they're gonna feel better about making it.
How do you want to change the real estate agent industry?
Listen, the business is an insane amount of work. You wake up every day as a real estate agent, you have no idea what's gonna happen today. And I think that there's always been this reputation that salespeople, real estate agents included, are driven by fees and driven by commissions, and that's not what I do. I wasn't born into this. I was born in Houston, Texas, on a mattress, in a house. I figured it out from the ground up, and I'm still trying to figure it out today. If you're determined and you can work incredibly hard, just do it. And just don't give up, right? It's about consistency more than anything.
New York City is a great city. Every block, every neighborhood is different. Such a powerful environment.
It's a town, I think, where there's so much opportunity. There's also a lot of pressure. It says you either make it or we're gonna go on to the next person.
New York has a mystique that tends to draw the most talented people in the United States and indeed the world to it.
Who would have thought we could have a celebrity real estate broker? But that's the day and age we're in today, and that is Ryan Serhant. This gentleman came to New York City trying to be an actor. He was actually a hand model at one point in his life, and he was struggling to make a living and ended up getting his real estate license just on a whim to make some extra money. And now he's built this incredible, massive real estate empire. He's got a new book out called Sell It Like Serhant. And he really is one of the elite brokers to the wealthy of New York City, selling one-bedroom apartments for $10 million, single-family lofts for up to $100 million, and people love watching him do it. He's a fascinating guy, and he had a lot to say about how to sell things, how to engage with people, how to follow up, and how to really build a funnel that can generate sales and success for you. I enjoyed my time with Ryan. He's famous all around the world for what he does, and it just goes to show you, in this day of new media, anybody can be a celebrity in any field. This is stuff I teach in London Real Academy. Ryan embodies it, and I know you're going to enjoy this incredible episode. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Ryan Serhant, the American real estate broker, broadcaster, and author. In 2006, you moved to New York City to become an actor, getting your real estate license just to make ends meet. By 2012, you were cast in the hit series $1 Million Listing New York, which follows the lives of 3 luxury real estate agents over 8 seasons. You also star on the spin-off series Sell It Like Serhant and regularly appear on CNN, CNBC, and The Today Show. You sold over $1.6 billion worth of real estate in the last 2 years. And your book, Sell It Like Serhant, teaches the fundamentals of selling anything to anyone. Ryan, welcome to London Real in New York City.
Yeah, thanks for having me on Canal Street.
Right? Crazy, right? There might be some horns and stuff going in the background.
Good.
Look, you got a really incredible story. I'd love to get into it. I guess the first thing I wanted to ask you was, when you came to New York in 2006, did you know you were going to make it no matter what? Was it like, I'm not leaving, they're carrying me out on a stretcher? Or did that come over time, that kind of killer instinct?
I think it came over time. I came to New York because I knew I didn't want to pass up opportunity, and I knew life was short, and I'd always had this acting bug. It's the only thing I was ever kind of good at. And it's the only thing I ever really liked. And I was so nervous to just go get a regular job or go to grad school or just do something because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And then, when I'm like 40 or 50 or 60, then be upset that I never tried it. And then what do? Then by then I'd be married with kids, have responsibilities, all that. And I would never do it. What's that movie? There's a George Clooney movie. I think it's called Up in the Air,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he's a guy that goes around the world and fires people.
Yeah.
And he's got that one line. It's like, how much did they pay you to give up your dreams? You know, and it's an amazing scene with him and J.K. Simmons. And I can't remember what it was, but it was either some hourly wage or something to cover his bills. And he's like, I was going to be a chef, but now I'm a CPA. And, you know, if you don't love numbers, being a CPA must suck. So I think once I kind of got into the city and started really hustling, at that point, a year or two into it, it was like, if the acting thing doesn't work out, I just don't want to leave New York, because New York is a city where like literally anything can happen. And if I'm going to do something with my life, it's going to happen here versus anywhere else.
Right. Now, anything can happen here, but it's also, you know, I used to live here for about 4 years in the 90s, and walking around here, it's a different vibe than London. It's a different vibe than LA. It really feels like it's kind of kill or be killed.
It is.
It feels like no one's going to give you a hug. There's no puppy dogs. There's no unicorns.
No friends here.
There's no friends. But you like that as well, because
Yeah.
it means also you can win if you perform.
Yeah. Listen, man, I was doing a deal at 10:30 p.m. in the office last night, and everybody I need on that deal was also in the office, also calling me back. If they were at dinners, they were stepping out. Like, people in New York who are successful are on the same rhythm, and they just get up and go. And that's, no matter what, that's the way that I was raised. You know, like, I've been to London, you know, I've been to other cities, and it's, we'll wait till 9 a.m. tomorrow. Like, that just doesn't work for me. Life is too short. Life is too short to wait till tomorrow. Like, I got to get things done now. Well, also, like, savoring up the moments. I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but you know, that deal last night was also predicated on moving things really, really quickly, and had attorneys not been able to pick up the phone or make things move, or kind of, you know, been at dinner with their wives, like, the deal wouldn't have gotten done.
What do people not know about the inside of what you do every day as far as the high ticket real estate market? Like, what would people be surprised to learn?
Those cops are coming for you.
I
They
hope
found
not.
you here
I hope not.
with those red socks.
But like, what's something that we'd be surprised to learn, and what's something that's not what we would typically assume happens?
About me?
You know,
Or-
and the business you do, and the clients you deal with.
Listen, the business is an insane amount of work. It's probably not as customer facing as people think. I think when you watch the shows and watch us on YouTube and everything, it's very visual and very personal. But I spend, like, you've got to be willing to grind the office hours. Like, I get, and I was just telling Ollie as if he came up here, like, I get every day, Monday through Friday anyway, between 900 and 1,100 emails a day that are for me. That's not spam, right? Spam is a separate box. I have an email assistant who helps me with the emails, right? I've got 3 other assistants who help me just move life forward. And a lot of it is being incredibly disciplined with the work. So you have to also be able to have the discipline to grind in front of a computer and answer email in real time, while also turning on that personality and being customer facing when they're in front of you.
Does that acting background help you? Are you playing the role of your life now?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
The acting background, the ability to improvise, you know, and kind of ebb and flow with people's personalities, to be able to figure out how I'm going to answer someone's question with the way they need me to answer it. You know, there's a lot of people who are so stubborn with their own personalities, they just will never be as successful as they could be if they were to kind of work within the idea of inception, I guess. You know, like, every deal I do, it's about making it the other person's idea. And you can only do that if you know how to listen to respond instead of listening to reply.
Okay. You once said you could negotiate with someone's emotions, but not with their bank account.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, if someone walks in the door and they only have $100 in their wallet, yeah, you can go borrow a little bit, but like, I can't change how much money they make. I can't change how much money they have in the bank or how much they can get pre-approved for on a loan, like, unless they rob a bank. Like, I can't negotiate with how much money they have. How much money they want to spend is totally different, and that's all here. And everybody has different reasons. Some it's about making other people happy, some it's about ego, some it's just about feeling like they won and they got a good deal. Everyone's a little bit different. And so you negotiate the emotions that are attached to the wallet versus just negotiating with the wallet.
Okay. So ultimately, they feel good when they buy, but that could be 6 different reasons or 10 different reasons.
Always.
Okay. And you have to be able to listen to them and sell them something to where they walk out with a great feeling.
Yeah. And you have to, you know, on both sides of any deal, you have to literally write down. Like, for a long time, I would actually write it down. I carry a moleskin all the time. this like purple moleskin where I write notes on. And you have to figure out what everyone's fears are. So if you're a buyer, if you don't get this apartment, what happens? If you're fine with it, then that's not really a fear, but maybe it's because your lease is coming up in October and you don't know what to do. That's a fear that you can press on for people, right? To kind of create a market and create urgency for them. If a seller is being super stubborn and they don't want to sell below their number because of this, that, or the other, what is the seller's fear? Maybe the seller's fear is, they're already in contract on their next place and they're stubborn about this price, but they need the money to buy the next place, or whatever the reason is. You just write them down and you very slowly, gently always press back to the fears to get your deal done.
And Manhattan is probably the strangest market in the world, where someone might spend $100 million on a few bedroom apartment in one area, but wouldn't spend a fraction of that maybe here on Canal Street. And then you got weird motivations. You got the Wall Street guys, maybe the media guys, maybe the people that are just super rich and want to invest. So there's a lot of weird quirkiness going on, and you have to try to identify what those motivations are.
Yeah, I mean, listen, New York is similar to London, I think, in that way that we don't just have one buyer pool. We're not like LA. We're not just governed by the entertainment industry. I could sell an apartment in New York to anybody. Finance, tech, entertainment, authors, attorneys, someone from Russia, someone from South America, someone from Cape Town, South Africa. Like, it doesn't matter, because New York is this little rock that everyone knows that no matter what is a relatively safe real estate investment, because it's always liquid, which you can't say for a lot of other places. And London has the same kind of eclectic client base. You've got people from all over the world buying up London. They're not just tied to one specific industry. And London has huge sales too. 100 million for some house, Kensington or wherever. These deals are done. It's nuts. But then you go to the town over or the neighborhood over, and same sort of thing. They won't pay more than £1 million for that place.
Will you ever sell in London?
No, the brokerage business is so different in London, right? The commissions are lower. The situations with the brokerage companies are different. Most agents are salaried, and it's a very, very small amount, and you're not incentivized to work with buyers, in most of Europe anyway. And I think it ends up hurting the market. I'm incentivized whether I'm working with a seller or a buyer, and we're incentivized to get deals done, which is why so many deals get done here. If I wasn't incentivized, I would be home last night. I wouldn't be doing that deal. Right. I have a wife and a baby. I'll see you at 9 a.m.
Right. It's the beauty of capitalism in that sense. You get things.
And free enterprise and free markets. And you can't penalize people for wanting to work hard. And if you're not cool with it, then move or don't do it. Everything's fine.
Yeah. What do you think people are fascinated with your story? Why do people love the TV show, your vlogging channel, all that stuff? Is it the fact that they saw you hustle and win? Is it that you open up a lot of possibilities? What do you think it is? And I know it's different audiences, right? Cable's older, YouTube's younger.
Yeah, and Instagram is totally different too.
Right.
It's why I try to be in as many places as I can, because it's all a different, like you said, a different group, a different target market for me. I think, one, a lot of what I do is in crazy real estate. So people like seeing the real estate porn aspect of it. Yeah. So for $1 Million Listing and a lot of the stuff, like our property tours on YouTube, those are always the most viewed, because people just like seeing the crazy real estate. And then my story-wise, I think it's, from what I've heard from people anyway, I wasn't born into this, right? I was born in Houston, Texas, on a mattress in a house. I moved around 8 times before 4th grade. I grew up outside Boston. I went to college upstate New York. I bombed on the LSATs to get into law school. I didn't know what to do. I had a little money saved up, moved to New York to be an actor. I played a clock in a play in a basement. I think people can relate to not having a golden parachute or kind of been funded by somebody else. And so I think my story is very much listen, if you're determined and you can work incredibly hard, just do it. And just don't give up, right? It's about consistency more than anything.
And you like real estate because you weren't being turned away based on your looks and your age and your gray hair. And it was merit-based, which I guess acting in a weird way prepared you to really embrace that. mean, some people would be like, oh yeah, it's not so special, but you're like,
Yeah.
no, it actually really is.
Yeah, man. I mean, the real estate brokerage business is a meritocracy, right? Which is a very, very healthy form of governing, because it's all dependent upon your ability to do good work or not. And I eat what I kill. Like no one pays me a salary. I pay everyone else salaries. And my income can go up or go down, or I could have a good year or a bad year, and I just have to try to diversify as much as I possibly can. But yeah, the acting business is, we got ambulances outside. It's good. This is New York.
It is.
The acting business is very, very personal. Like you said, it's about your face, about your height, your voice, it's hard to control all of that. In the real estate business, if I show you a good deal, you're going to buy it, even if you don't like my face or my hair.
And you started out like walking up to pregnant women in Starbucks and saying, hey, you probably need more space.
I'm never going to live that down.
I mean, because
I didn't know who else to talk to. I'm not from here. No one told me what to do. I started at a brokerage and they were like, post ads on Craigslist, meet people, rent apartments. Like that was the training. So everything else that I've done, I've had to invent and figure out. I've had to I would Google big companies and big brokers and look at how they run their business, and I would write notes down. And I'd take the best that worked for me and I'd leave the rest. But yeah, I was just trying to find people who wanted to buy or rent or sell apartments. And an easy target in New York City were pregnant women on the Upper East Side who probably needed more space. And what do people love more than a compliment? So to say, you look beautiful, great. I'm a real estate agent. Do you need a second bedroom? It's kind of like a weird opening line, but it worked. It works.
So you tell a pregnant woman she's beautiful, which is smart,
Yeah.
and then ask if they need more space.
Yeah, and then give a card, and then you move on.
Right. And you got business from that.
Yeah,
And that blew you
enough
away.
to start
Enough
me
to
anyway.
start. Okay.
Yeah, and I'd find people coming out of Saks Fifth Avenue with shopping bags, and if they had more than 2 shopping bags, in my mind, it was like, you can afford an apartment. And I try to meet people that way too.
But New Yorkers don't like being chatted up on the street, do they? You do it anyways.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really, but coming out of Saks Fifth Avenue, mostly wasn't New Yorkers, mostly foreigners.
Okay.
And in Starbucks, listen, they want their latte. I would get them in line. And so what are you gonna do? Step out of line and not talk to me? I'm also not crazy, and I wouldn't waste anybody's time. And I'd be super quick, super short. And then if I could get their information, I would follow up with them. And that's really the secret sauce, right? The power of good, valuable follow-up.
Yeah. You cover that in the book. I want to get into some of that too.
Yeah.
And you also joined multiple gyms and we just start the conversation. And this was all you, though. You didn't read a book how to do this. You're just thinking.
No, I was told to join the synagogue. This is New York, by the way.
Apparently in LA, you go to AA. That's where all you make all the money.
Exactly, because you're getting people who need to, they want to get their new demons, Right. But here, I'm not Jewish, I'm not overly religious. I wasn't going to go to church and try to meet people. And so the only thing I did was I went to work and I go to the gym in the mornings or at night. And you want to try to find, when selling anything, you want to find people who have things in common with you. That's why so many, kind of community groups stick together, because they all have that thing in common. And the only thing I had in common with anybody, there wasn't like a Texas Anonymous for everyone who lived in Texas and moved to New York. I would go to the gym and I would just talk to people there. So between that, talking to pregnant women and talking to foreigners coming out of Saks Fifth Avenue who had more than 2 shopping bags, that's how I started my career.
And your first year in real estate, you made $9,000?
Yeah, like 9,100. Yeah, it was tough.
9,100.
Yeah.
So you can't live on that in New York.
No.
By
Brutal.
no means. Brutal.
Listen, I really hate it when people come to me and they say they need to make a certain amount of money, otherwise they just can't afford to live here. I made it work. You don't need to live in a tower. You can live in a shitty, terrible apartment and have 6 roommates, pay $400 a month, deal with the rats and the cockroaches, eat ramen, eat tofu. If you want it bad enough, you will figure it out. So and people tell me all the time, especially younger agents, millennials and Gen Zs who just drive me crazy, who are like, well, yeah, but I can't afford to live there. It's just too expensive. Too expensive for your taste, for the way you want to live, the way you want to show yourself off on Instagram, or what is it? And they can never answer the question. Oh, well, it's not safe. I'm like, oh, well, dude, I did it. If you want it bad enough, you will make it happen.
Do people find it hard to picture you scraping by, going to Koreatown, because they see your lavish lifestyle. It's hard to picture you, in a place with rats.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess so. I think so. That's why in the book, I talked about it a lot at the beginning because I wanted to kind of like break down that barrier of what people assume of me when they see me on TV and the vlogs and all that stuff. That like, this wasn't, I figured it out from the ground up. And I'm still trying to figure it out today. And I still go up against real estate agents that are born here, that have amazing connections that I don't have. And I lose deals to them all the time,
Right.
and it just fuels the fire for me to do even more.
You mentioned millennials and Gen X. You're kind of Gen X, right?
I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial.
1984.
So you're slagging off the millennials. Do they get a bad rap, or is it, be honest?
I think there's an apathy to younger generations where they just don't care, or they care about things that they shouldn't care about, And I think that there is a lack of hard work because they didn't have the baby boomer parents and the generations before them who literally had to like sew shoes to make a living. Like my kids, I'm not gonna have those stories. Like I've got my story, but they're not gonna grow up in that lifestyle. Like people have, so it is what it is. I mean, people have so many different ways of making money now and raising families that like all those old school stories of walking 5 miles to get the bus and to do that are gone.
Yeah.
Our stories now are gonna be like, I had to wait 10 minutes for my Uber. You don't know what it was like back in the day. Like, is that really gonna motivate the next generations to work their ass off? I don't know.
Yeah, I worry about that too. Was your dad a big part of teaching you the value of money and hard work? I mean, that must have come from somewhere.
Yeah, I thank him at the beginning of the book. I resented a lot of the way that he raised me when I was growing up because it sucked. It was all discipline and structure, right? It was the power of like the minute, the hour, and the power of the dollar. I had to write an essay once on the importance of not being lazy because I didn't hang up my jacket the right way. Like, he really, really cracked a whip, and I am incredibly grateful for it now. But at the time, it sucked. Like I wasn't allowed to play video games. I wasn't allowed to, I had curfews when my friends didn't have curfews. Like we had every single night at dinner, I had to sit down and walk my dad through my day and what I learned and what I'm gonna do better the next day. Like since I was 8.
Wow.
Right? Sundays, when I went to college, I had to call him and walk him through what I learned from the week and what I was gonna do the next week, to the point where I still do it today because it's weird not to do it. And I do think it helps me to like think about my business as a whole movement that way. And like, so now I probably annoy my dad calling him all the time. He's like, I already raised you. You go off and leave me alone. But it's helpful. But I do, yeah, for sure. I credit him a lot.
So your structure and discipline came from somewhere. I mean, a lot of it you discovered, but a lot of it was put in by him. Yeah,
I mean, when I first moved here and I first lived in Koreatown, and I had 2 roommates. We were both paralegals, and they were gonna have brutal hours, and then they were gonna go to law school, and I was like the actor. I had no job, no prospects. It was just wake up and go see if I can audition somewhere. And he told me, it's like, listen, if you want to make this work for yourself, you have to wake up before they do and go to bed after they do, right? Use them as guidance for how hard you should work. No day should you sleep until 10. And I think he was nervous because if I didn't have structure, I'm living in New York City, no boss, no clock to punch in and punch out. What am I going to do? And so it freaked me out. I also did have a clock, I only had so much money to live here. And unless I figured out a way to make money, I'd have to leave.
Tell me about the show. How do you get on a show when you're brokering deals in Long Island City and you tell them you're the best broker in the world?
Yeah.
Is that your alter ego you're channeling, or?
No, it's kind of what we were talking about, right? The power of improv. Like you have to know how to read people, and you have to know what they want from you, and you either have to give it to them or you don't, And at that time in 2010, I didn't have anything. And so I went to an open casting call in Times Square with 3,000 real estate agents in March of 2010. And we all had 30 seconds in front of a camera, and I told them what they wanted to hear. I'm the greatest real estate agent in the history of the world. Really? Fuck yes. Okay, move on to the next one. And I think a lot of other people went and sat down and like, I don't know. I mean, I sold this last year. And it's like, if you don't have the confidence, then why work with you?
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.